Hi, thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea, and I come to you today to answer a question that I received. The question is, can an atheist become a psychic? The short answer to that is yes. An atheist is basically someone who, the simple definition, is someone who doesn't believe in God. Often that's not the total definition for some people. For everybody, everyone who defines themselves as an atheist, I think it's different. Sometimes it's just that they don't believe in God. Sometimes it is that they there are a set of things that they don't believe in. Sometimes atheists will explain that it's not that they're not willing to believe in God, not willing to believe in certain things, but that they are a person who their character and their personality is as such that they believe in things when they have been given proof of it, an explanation for it, that they feel they can rationalize. I'm not going to get into the whole atheist, whether that's right, whether that's wrong, whether it's okay to say that you just don't believe in something unless it's proven. That's not. I'm going to just answer the question. The question is, yes, an atheist can be a psychic. If you think about it, there are some religions that believe in this and they don't believe in that. For example, in the Jewish faith, they don't follow Jesus. They do not follow Jesus. They do not worship Jesus. So that's very different from Christians. Christians, they do, in a sense, worship Jesus, follow Jesus. However, Jewish people do not. So I do have a client who is Jewish, and still, I sometimes use stories of Jesus as examples for him when I'm trying to explain something to him. And usually he respectfully, silently listens. But there is that kind of silence, and then he says, well, I've never heard that before. And I understand, you know, and he's, one of my clients actually admitted to me, he's like, well, I really don't know hardly anything about Jesus. He's like, I know who Jesus is, but I really don't know anything about Jesus. But that's because of his religion. His religion does not, do not teach the teachings of Jesus, and they do not follow Jesus. For example, Buddhists, Hindus, they may, like, I'll use Buddhism for an example. I like Muji. I like listening to his teachings. Osho as well. And they will teach things, you will hear them teach things like that nothing is real. If nothing is real and everything is an illusion, and there is only one real thing that is true and exists, which is God, everything else is nothing. Now, this doesn't mean that they don't have abilities. Actually, enlightened masters, they have awesome abilities. However, they don't label themselves. You would never hear a Buddhist master teaching students and labeling themselves and saying, I'm a channeler. I channel the divine. Now, in what they have going on, that may be true in what they actually have going on, but you never hear them label themselves that way. So now, if they, now, you might say that's a bad example because, well, at least they believe in that one thing, but what about somebody who believes in nothing? Well, it doesn't require you to believe in certain things to be able to have psychic abilities. There are some psychics that are not on a spiritual path. Maybe they believe in God, but they're not studying spirituality. And that does not affect their psychic abilities. If a psychic suddenly wakes up tomorrow and has had a bad experience that led them to wake up and say, someone really close to me died, and it's really hurt me. It's really thrown me for a loop. And I don't know how God could do this. And they're really hurting. And in their sorrow and their anger over it almost, maybe they get to a state where they're just like, I don't know if I believe in God anymore. That will not affect their abilities. Their abilities will not just turn off because they wake up one morning and go, you know what? My best friend was killed, was taken away from me, and I don't see why, if God was loving and kind, would do this. So I don't believe in him anymore. That does not mean their abilities would go anywhere. If you don't believe in anything, that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to have psychic abilities. You still have the same things that everybody else has. Because just because you don't believe doesn't mean you don't have a chakra system. You're not believing doesn't mean that all of a sudden your chakras are all gone. For example, the brow chakra, the third eye, is one of the chakras that controls clairvoyance, right? Well, just because you wake up tomorrow and you say, I don't believe in God, does that mean all of a sudden your brow chakra, your third eye, is going to be sucked right out of your head and thrown away? Of course not. You know that's not true. Even when I said it, you probably went, that's silly. So tell me, how is it then, if the brow chakra and the third eye control clairvoyance, how will you not believing something mean that you no longer have that chakra that gives you that ability? If you still have that chakra, that means if you still have that chakra and it's still balanced and clear, you still have the ability to have those psychic abilities. Just because you don't believe this or that doesn't mean the chakra is blocked or imbalanced. There are a lot of people that believe so many different things, but they have a balanced and clear chakra. Just because tomorrow they don't believe in jelly, how does that really affect their chakra system? It doesn't. It's just a belief. The beliefs people have, they're constantly changing. Sometimes they believe this, and then the next day they learn something and they believe something different. But all the while, this does not mean that it affects the abilities that they have the ability to have. So the answer is yes. If you're an atheist, yes, you could still be psychic. And you might question, who would want to get a psychic reading from an atheist? Because many times, when you get a psychic reading, what comes through that person, the only thing that can come through them are the things that are at their level. Like, for example, if you want to channel information about mathematics, but you only reach a 10th grade level, you will only be able to channel and bring forward information at the level you actually achieved. Higher a level you achieve, higher level of understanding you achieve, you'll be able to bring things through that level. So if the question is, who would want to get a psychic reading from an atheist? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe other atheists. Maybe that psychic reader would be able to do awesome readings for other atheists. Maybe that atheist psychic reader would also be able to do awesome readings for somebody who's a Christian. Why do I say that? Because maybe the atheist will be impartial in a way to be able to just bring forward just a clear truth. Just be able to bring forward information that's truth, that's not affected by anything. That's if that atheist who's a psychic reader has practiced and developed and gotten to the level where they can bring through a truth that's not tainted by their own beliefs or non-beliefs. So the answer is yes. Now, of course, some of you, you don't believe that a person that has psychic abilities are working from a place of God anyway. There are some of you that have been unfortunately taught that by certain religions. That's okay. Often that is how people deal with the things that they don't understand. Fear also makes people deal with things that way. Typically the things that people would be fearful of are the things that they are going to kind of down, going to put down. It's fear. It's fear and a lack of understanding. Because you will notice, you go to church, they may explain things to you about the prophets of that time. Maybe around the time when Jesus was preaching and teaching, they will explain to you that there were prophets. They will explain to you that John the Baptist was similar to Jesus. He was a prophet. There were many prophets during that time. They will tell you, it's okay for you to believe in a prophet who is actually communicating the word of God, or maybe communicating the word of angels, but it's not okay to believe in the psychics or the channelers or the mediums of this day and age. But wait a minute, we're really talking about the same thing. We're just talking about new labels during this day and age being used for it. And yes, true, prophets were back during Jesus' time, prophets, they weren't into metaphysics. A lot of them weren't into astrology or astronomy. It was about, religion. It was about spirituality. And what they prophesied had to do with religion, God. And so it's a little bit different during this day and age because, now we have people that are psychics. Okay, so let's say psychics during this day and age are prophesizing about so many different things, and many times not for a religious purpose. I, of course, shouldn't have to tell anybody this. This is just pretty much common sense stuff. If your clergy is telling you psychics are bad and can't rightly and clearly answer that question, well, what about prophets? How is it that prophets are okay, but psychics during this day and age aren't? What about psychics who specialize in spirituality, in helping people with their spiritual advancement? Are you saying they're okay? One type of psychic's okay, one type isn't? What is it? You have to question these things. Just the more questions you ask and you let run through your mind and you try to figure out, the closer you can get to these answers yourself. But now, at least based on the way psychic abilities work, based on the way a person comes to being psychic, what is going on within them that allows them to be that. Yes, even an atheist can be psychic. Thank you for listening. And if you have any comments, please feel free to give me, your comment or your view on how you see this. If you think, no, an atheist can't be psychic, feel free to make a comment and, share with us, your view on, why you say that, your rationale on why you say that. We would all love to hear from it. Or if you have any experiences, anybody who is an atheist who does have psychic abilities and they use them, feel free to share those experiences with us, because it'll be helpful in answering this question to get as many views, perspectives from from different people and their experiences as possible. So feel free to do that, of course. If you are looking for me, you want to contact me, you want to read more of the things I write when it comes to spirituality, feel free to visit my website, sherryandrea.com. I have archived all the metaphysically related material to its own website, which is psychicmastery.com. I've done that because for the last few years, I've been mainly into my spiritual advancement, my spiritual growth. So I'm not really focused on psychic development. It's a phase that everyone goes through, and we need to not get stuck at that phase. And so, of course, in light of not getting stuck at that phase, yes, I have abilities, and I use the abilities that I have to help myself with my spiritual growth. However, you don't want to get stuck at that phase, because you want to continue to spiritually advance. So you can't really put too much emphasis on that phase you're in, so that you will keep moving through it. However, I realize that some of the things that I wrote in the past and I shared about metaphysics, about empathy, highly sensitive people, and how to become skilled empaths, about clairsentience, which is being able to feel energy, clairaudience, all of these things, I realized that, they may continue to still be helpful to some, and that's why I didn't delete them. I just archived them so that they would have their own website. And so Psychic Mastery is where you can go if you're interested in any of those things, or learning more about them, or learning what you've got going on with an ability that has awakened in you. As always, sherryspeaks.com is dedicated for those of you who are into the healing arts, or would like to learn more about topics about becoming a true healer. So that is the healing arts, but it also is very spiritual, because it speaks of becoming a clear vessel, to be able to reach that level where you can become a true healer. So feel free to go to sherryspeaks.com if you'd like to. It is a community, so you can register for free, which would allow you to communicate with others. You can also register for a paid membership, which is $5 for a lifetime membership, and then you'll have access to download all of the healing arts manuals there: Reiki, ethereal crystal, Kundalini Reiki. You'll be able to, there's tons of healing manuals that I have there, probably verging on somewhere between 15 and 20. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for giving me your time today. I hope the answer to the question, can atheists be psychics, has helped answer the question for you. Thank you. Have a great day. Namaste.